and that your family is well. I was supposed to be about maybe 30 minutes ago, but I got tied up in some things. So look, tonight we're going to talk about um, the living and the dead. Why, the living do not hang out with the dead. We're going to talk about the living does not hang out with the dead. And I would figure that you're probably saying, what are you talking about? Why did you pick this subject? So as individuals come on to the show tonight, we're going to talk about the living not hanging around the dead. And the reason I'm saying that, fraternal greetings, Brother Gilmore, what's going on with your hope all is well. The reason we're having this conversation tonight is because I just want you to think for a moment. The reason we're having this conversation because there's a lot of dead Masons out there. That is just the honest truth. So the living do not keep company with the dead. They don't. And I'm going to show it to you out of your ritual. I'm going to point it to you. If you are a master mason, I'm going to show this to you in your ritual. Okay? And this it's a saying that you hear most masons say all the time, and that may turn your light on. But we're going to talk about the living do not keep company with the dead. They don't. They do not. But I'm finding that a lot of masons who claim to have been whatever they've been through, they're still hanging around dead folks. That's a fact. And we're going to have this conversation tonight. So whatever you're doing right now, I just want to send a big shout out to all the veterans who are in the military, who've done their service. I want to send blessings to individuals who may be in the hospital. This coronavirus thing is like out of control. God knows it is. So definitely want to keep families and friends in prayer. And to all of my 5%ers, greetings to you, to my brothers who are part of the Fruit of Islam, sending blessings to you and yours, and to just everyone who's tuning in tonight. I hope, as always, that you get something out of this. And we're gonna see about this tonight. The living do not keep company with the dead. And this is the topic I gave some thought to. I've done a little reading, some research on it, and just trying to get a better understanding of why I chose this topic tonight. Because this topic right here, I just want you to think about it for a moment. The living do not keep company with the dead. So as we begin to break that down, I just want you to understand this from a Masonic point of view, from a point of view that maybe you haven't really taken a look at, just to say, how did you come to this point? The living do not keep company with the dead. This is on a Masonic topic. To me, this is going to be off the chain. So greeting to all who's coming on, Brother Larry Diamond. How you doing? Greetings. Let me see. Most Learned, how's it going, brother? Appreciate that donation you sent me. Most Learned, I really do. Thank you very much. Robert Harvey, how you doing? Greetings, 357. To everybody, Travel Light, what's going on? Josh 5.0, how you doing? And look, there's a brother. Well, he's not a brother. There's an individual in Alaska who's been watching the show, and he's been going through a lot. I don't recall his name right offhand, but he gave me a call, told me that he was going through a lot. Let you know, I'm going to keep you in my prayers, and I hope whatever you're going through, troubles don't last always. So definitely hoping that you can get through this chapter in your life. I really do, because believe it or not, we're all going through some things. And just to let you know, I appreciate you giving me a call, allowing me to come into your circle and you just sharing, So I'm hoping that you get through it, and you find that Masonic Lodge that you're looking for on your journey as you petition to become a Mason. So I hope you get through your issues, your life trials, and proceed to find a Masonic Lodge. That brother, I don't recall his name. He gave me a call the other day. He's from Alaska. So if you're watching, definitely that's for you. And to all the brothers of the craft and sisters of the order of the Eastern Star, blessings to you and yours as we get into this show tonight. The living do not keep company with the dead. So let's break this down from a Masonic point of view. When you are brought from darkness to light in Freemasonry, as most of you know, that's the saying, including in the Eastern Star, you're being brought from darkness to light. You have placed yourself in Freemasonry as one who's coming from a place that was considered darkness, because now in Freemasonry you're supposed to be enlightened on certain topic, philosophies, and things like that. So as you begin this journey in Freemasonry, you find brothers who are supposed to be enlightened, intelligent, and to be able to break down some of the so-called mysteries of Freemasonry. And it's not a mystery, it's only that because you don't know about it right now. So yes, it is a mystery from that point of view. But as you begin this journey, you're going to come to find that there are some dead Masons around you. There are some Masons who just don't know. And the reason they don't know is because when they became a Mason for the wrong reasons. And for those reasons alone, they are dead. And when I say that, because as you proceed in Masonry, you saying that you're being brought from darkness to light. One who says that is supposed to be illuminating, meaning that you're supposed to give light to the next person. Each candle, light a candle. But what you find happening along your journey, somebody blows your light out. Somebody blows your light out. So now you find yourself back in darkness. But as you proceed in Freemasonry, you come across this saying where they say, hey, you now raised from a dead level to a living perpendicular. Somebody lied to you. And I'm going to tell you this here. The reason I say that is because in the Bible, in Matthew, when you go and read about the death and resurrection of Christ, and when Mary Magdalene went to the tomb to see if he was there, he wasn't there. That's why the angel said, why are you looking for the living amongst the dead? And so that brings forth this topic tonight. The living do not keep company with the dead. When Christ was risen from a dead level to a living perpendicular, he left the cemetery. Most Masons still remain in the cemetery. They're still laying there to be raised because they have not yet been able to illuminate anybody else around them. The Master Messiah himself illuminated people around him. That's why even when Mary Magdalene came to the gravesite and did not see him, she had a conversation with the angel. And the angel said, why are you seeking the living amongst the dead? She ran and told the disciples who was locked in a room, terrified, telling them, hey, the Messiah is not dead, he's living. And they didn't believe her until he walks through the door. And they still didn't believe him until Doubting Thomas said, hey, if it be you, allow me to take my hand and put it into your side or into your handprint. Okay? You go back and read the story. Go back and read it. So why do you, as a Mason, continue to be around those dead Masons, one who don't illuminate you at all? One who's still laying there in a perpendicular position, waiting to be raised. Why you do that to yourself? So tonight, if you want to have that conversation with me, you're certainly welcome to call in. And if the administrator of the group don't mind putting this number in the chat group, that's going to be 619-286-0642 is the call-in number tonight. You can give me a call on that line, and we'll have this conversation. You know, the living do not keep company with the dead. If you notice anyone who's doing anything in life, they want people around them that are doing things in life, and such as in Freemasonry, such as in the Order of the Eastern Star. You do not want anyone around you who's not trying to be or come up or be successful at anything. Now, if you want those type of people around you, those are dead folks. The higher you climb in life, everybody can't go with you because everybody's not ready for that change that you're going to make as you go up in life. Everybody's not ready for that. So as you move up in life, as you mature in life, as you go through these various degrees in Freemasonry, those that came with you, that was initiated, passed and raised with you, are not going to continue that journey with you. So you may end up being a member of the Lodge of Perfection or the Royal Arch or a degree of the Most Excellent Master or Supreme Excellent Master. You may end up getting those Royal Arch degrees, and those brothers may not come along with you because they're not ready. They're not ready for that journey. See, they're still there on a perpendicular waiting to be raised. See, anybody who's been illuminated, they're going to want to get it. Anyone who wants to strive to have something, to be somebody, they're going to go after it. And those who don't are going to stay the same. This is why on this journey in life, everybody that starts out with you is not going to end with you. They're not. But it's very important that you treat those individuals that you left behind with respect. Because the same people you meet on the way up, you're going to meet on the way down. The same people you meet on the way up, you're going to meet on the way down. Because what happens in life on this journey is that those dead people that's there and those alive people who continue to strive and to want to succeed in life, if you're a 32nd degree, it says this here in that degree. You know, you're handed a set of scales for balance. So you must understand how you're going to balance that. This is why in all the degrees of Freemasonry, except on the Scottish Rite side, you're not giving any working tools on the Scottish Rite side. You're giving all the working tools on the York Rite side. If I'm wrong, somebody can call me and tell me you're wrong. That's not so. So as we continue to have this conversation, I want to say hello to everybody who's coming in. Hey, thank you there, bro. I appreciate you putting that in. That number to call in tonight is 619-286-0642. The nice topic is the living do not keep company with the dead. They do not. That is why in Scripture, when Christ was placed in that tomb, got up. It's like, boom. Why am I even here with the dead folks? I'm illuminated. I give light to those, who are seeking light. This is why, once again, even in Masonry, we often say, let there be light. Why? Because those individuals, those brothers who in that lodge that you come in, those sisters in that chapter that you become a part of, they're supposed to be illuminating to you. They're supposed to be the ones that set you afire, that you become hungry for the information of being a Mason in the Eastern Star. Those people in that organization, in that lodge, are supposed to be the driving force for you to be the best Mason, the best Eastern Star you can be. And what happens is, in turn, you find yourself, or even in the chapter, find themselves with that person who was once on fire, somebody blew that light out. They blew it out. So now you're finding that you're keeping company with the dead folks. The living do not keep company with the dead. They don't. People who are alive and who are doing things in their life, they do not keep company with the dead. Are you someone who keeps company with the dead? The person that you always look forward to hearing from, all they do is bring you problems instead of solutions? That's keeping company with the dead. Are you keeping dead company when you get home and you pick up the phone? Hey, bro, how you doing? Oh, man, the same thing over and over again. There's no good news with that person. They always find themselves bringing you some BS. And then when you hang up the phone from them, you feel drained. That's a dead person. They give you nothing. They take everything out of you. They suck the life out of you. And you be wondering what's going on. This is what you get when you deal with dead folks. They have not been risen from a dead level to a living perpendicular. They're still lying there. you know. So what you need to do as a newly initiated, one who's passed, one who's raised, find a brother or a sister in that chapter who's on fire, who wants to give you the lights and rights, okay? Who wants to give you that? Who wants to light your fire? Who wants to say, hey, brother, this is a good book to read? Those are the people you gravitate to when you come into this organization as a Mason, as an Eastern Star. But if you find that brother or that sister and all they want to do is toss them back, that's all they want to do. You know, they don't want to say, hey, brother, this is a good book to read, man. This is going to help you along this journey as a Mason. This is going to help you along this journey as an Eastern Star. This is going to help you to understand why we do what we do. You know, so this is that journey. This is why the living don't keep company with the dead. You know, if you go and read, if you are a Mason and you took your obligation, your oath upon the Bible, okay, that volume of sacred law which you reserve to take that oath upon, then you need to indulge yourself in that volume of sacred law. They tell me that the Bible stands for basic instructions before leaving earth. Okay? They tell me in regards to the Quran what it's supposed to do to those who believe in Muhammad. You know, and how he's supposed to help shape their lives. So in every degree in Freemasonry, there's a lesson to be learned in every degree. This is why I don't understand in some organization, how can a brother be raised and then all of a sudden he can become a Shriner, or the sister who's initiated into the Order of the Eastern Star and all of a sudden she can become a daughter without going through the previous appending bodies and understanding why when you become a Knights Templar or a Ladies Knights of Templars in my jurisdiction, or in some of the other jurisdictions they have the same thing, or you become a daughter of Sphinx or a Nobles of the Mystic Shrine. When you get there, you have on the York Rite side, you have more of a religious set of mind. Whereas on the Scottish Rite side, you have more of a philosophy set of mind. But when it comes together and you go to the allied body of the shrine, then you have a better understanding of Ishmael and Isaac. You have that better understanding. But what happens is brothers in certain jurisdictions, this is how they're structured, they miss all of that. They don't get it. So let me just take some of the comments. Trying everything. I am 25-year-old fellow craft Mason. I joined the organization when I was 21 years old. Follow my tweet. All right. I had to check that out. 25-year-old fellow craft Freemason out of Texas. Wow, 25-year-old fellow craft Mason out of Texas. How you doing there, brother? D Teller 312. Big shout out to you. Patrick, how you doing tonight? So we're getting this topic in. The living do not keep company with the dead. Should be the highest standard for knowledge. Light traveler, what's going on for you? So as we begin this journey in Freemasonry, and we have an understanding in regards to Freemasonry and how it's supposed to bring you to life, because this is what's happening. You're being brought from darkness to light. You're being raised from a dead level to a living perpendicular. And when you come up, you're supposed to be illuminating. You are supposed to be that one to, when you walk in a room, you illuminate the room. You are that guy. You are that young lady to, when you walk into a room, you may be 23, 21, but when you walk into the room, your presence as a member of the Order of the Eastern Star is supposed to be one where people is like, wow, it's something in regards to the way they carry themselves, their standards, how they proceed in a room that sits them like, oh, okay, all right, I mean, because we've all heard that, we've all heard about, you know, when I thought that brother was a Mason. I thought that sister was an Eastern Star. It was just something about them. We've heard people say those things, and it is something about them. They're illuminating. That is what is about them. And when you're not able to illuminate a room with your presence, your respect for the next person, when you're not able to do that, you're dead. You're no good. John Belly, H2O, become natural as a Mason. You say you get that all the time. What's up, Brother Charles? How you doing? You know. So what you find is that some brothers who have been in Masonry for a very long time, they're still dead. Because they haven't been illuminated. They haven't elevated themselves. They are still in search of that which is lost. We're always in search of that which is lost. But what I'm saying is, when a new member come into that lodge, they're not able to illuminate that new member. That's what I mean by being dead. That's what I meant earlier when I said that candle has been blown out. The living do not keep company with the dead. You have to check around yourself. You a Mason, right? You're supposed to be illuminating. You're an Eastern Star, right? There's 5 points on each degree that you take, right? Each one of those degrees is supposed to be illuminating to you as a young lady who's going through life. Just as in the stages of Freemasonry is supposed to be illuminated to that young man who's going through Freemasonry. So when he becomes a Master Mason, he understands he doesn't no longer hang around dead folks. You don't. You're not supposed to hang around dead folks when you are raised. The people you're dealing with are supposed to be illuminating and alive. But how can you be illuminating and alive when the very essence of your being is saying that I'm dead? But you've been a Mason 30 years. Your conduct as a Mason doesn't speak for you. You know, you're so vile and wretched. Ooh. I mean, come on now. Talk back to me, somebody. You feel out of place. Oh my goodness. You know, I'm just saying, this is apply the tools to your to every day, your everyday life. You need to apply those tools. But let me say this here. As truthful as that statement that you just made is, Charles, I think that was Charles that made that statement, applying the tools. Let me see who made that statement. Joe Billy, okay, H2O. All right, John Billy, H2O. As truthful as that is, most don't do that. I say 50% of the Masons don't do that. I'll tell you this here. This week, I found myself traveling. Okay, so as I was traveling, I got to talking with. Let me see. I want to make sure I don't mess his name up. Okay, so I was traveling, and I came. I was sitting in the airport. So another brother Mason approached me. He said a few words, and I was able to comprehend what he was saying, and we got to talking. He said, "What lodge are you from? Where you from?" I said, "I'm from California." He said, "Oh, okay, great. I've been to California." He said, "What lodge are you a part of?" I said, "I'm part of Hosea Lodge, Ancient, Free, and Accepted Mason." He says, "Okay, great." We got to talking. He's from Denver. All right, this brother's out of Denver, and the name of his lodge is Tejon, Tejon, lodge number 104, out of Denver. That's the name of his lodge. He's the captain. He was the captain of the plane, right? So as we began to have the conversation, this brother who was the captain of the plane was like, I was like wondering, how did he know? Well, you know, of course I had my jacket on, but when he came over and we had this conversation, it dawned on me that this gentleman, his demeanor was, the brother was smooth. The brother was smooth. I mean, his whole demeanor around everyone, it was just comfortable. He was just smooth with it. That's what I'm saying, is that the living do not keep company with the dead. They don't. If you find yourself always debating someone over small stuff, that person is dead. He's dead. She's dead. So you have to be able to illuminate that person. Everybody's not ready to be illuminated, for one thing, because I tell you, they'll cut you up so quick. You be like, well, damn, I thought we was boys. I thought we was good. No, everybody is not ready for that. But I'm letting you know, brothers of the craft, sisters of the order, once again, I keep saying this over and over tonight, the living do not keep company with the dead. You're going to have to let some folks go. Simple as that, in your lodge, in your chapter. Because they're not trying to do anything other than, you're going to have to let them go. You have to, no, because you're not putting anything in. All you're doing is taking out. Okay? You have those sisters of the sisters of the order and brothers of the craft. All they do is take. They put nothing in. You know it just as well as I do. So this is why in Freemasonry, in the Fellowcraft degree, when you find yourself going up the winding stairs to give the knock on the door to enter into the holies of holies, think about it, the holies of holies, you're going to a place that is supposed to be that of great honor. Okay? Of great honor. This is where you're going to after the Fellowcraft degree. And when you enter that door, and when you are raised up, once again, you're supposed to be illuminating. This is why, even if you look into scriptures, those of you who are Christians, and when John baptized the Messiah, right? He came up, right? Right? When he came up, God said, this is my beloved son. Boom. There it is. What? He was illuminated. From a dead level to a living perpendicular, he was illuminated. Plain and simple. Just as they put him on a cross. Put me on a cross, third day I'm going to raise it up again. Boom. Put him on a cross. He said, I draw all men unto me. Put him on a cross, raised him up. He drew all men unto him. Put him in a tomb, perpendicular, raised up, illuminated. That's why he was able to walk through the walls when the disciple was hanging out in the upper room, terrified. When Mary Magdalene went to the grave and the angel said, why are you looking for the living amongst the dead? So we're going to have this topic tonight. We're going to hold this conversation tonight. So if you want to call in, you're certainly welcome to do so. This number is 619-286-0642. We're talking about Masons who keep company with the dead, in so many words. If you are one who's been illuminated, if you are one who's been truly raised from that dead level to a living perpendicular, you don't keep company with dead folks. You don't. But however, if you find yourself under no less penalty keeping company with dead folks, that's on you. That's totally on you. That's why you can't illuminate nobody. That's why when people look at you and they say, oh, you call yourself, you're supposed to be a Mason? The standards are different. And this is what is missing sometimes in this is what's missing a lot of times in Freemason. It's the standards. Don't lower your standards. You need to raise that next person up to come up. You don't lower your standards. You don't come down on nobody. They need to come up to you. You know? And this is what happens a lot of times with us who are supposed to be 33rd degree Masons, and you can't even give a lecture on the first, second, or third degree, but you a 33rd. You don't even know the password of a 33rd, you know? And that reminds me too, it's sort of funny. So I have a brother who came to San Diego, California, to receive his Knights Templar degree work and to receive his degree work in the Scottish Rite. All right. Once he was done going through his initiation on the York Rite side as a Knights Templar, then he went and received his initiations on the Scottish Rite side as far as the Lodge of Perfection and the Scottish Rite, all the way up to the 32nd. Once he's done his process, his old jurisdiction, right, was like, oh, they gave those degrees to you. And then his deputy Grand Master, once he's seen the pictures, oh, I know those guys. I'd never seen you before in my life, bruh. You don't know me, and I'm not calling your name. I just know that when you see this video, you know you're going to know exactly what I'm saying. See, you dead. And when I say that you're dead, it's because what people do is they hang on to other people. Okay? They hang on to other people. They don't want to give credit when credit is due to somebody else. You know, if you know a brother who's gone through these degrees and you know that that brother is legit, and when I say legit, that brother has truly paved the way, that he's done the work to deserve the degrees that he has received. Even she has received. She deserved those degrees. She went through the process. But then when you find somebody who's hating on the mere fact that you was able to do it, that's a dead brother. He's dead, you know. He's not ready yet, and this is what you get. Whoa, I haven't been able to catch up. Hey, they can see, but they are legally blind. Yeah, that's true. They can see, but they are legally blind. This is why it's important, brothers of the craft and sisters of the order, to always put yourself. You have to do this. To put yourself around those who want to be illuminated. It's up to you. This thing we call the Freemasons and the Order of the Eastern Star is beautiful. I enjoy it. God knows I do. Because of the friendship that I've made and the people I've seen and had real conversation with. I'm not talking about someone you hold a conversation with and then all of a sudden they're on the phone talking about you. Not them, because they dead too. I'm talking about someone who respects the fact of who you are. You know, I'm talking about that person. I'm talking about that sister. And when you have those individuals in your lodge, in your chapters, those are the ones who are going to help you to elevate. Those are the ones who are going to help you to be the best Mason and Eastern Star you can be. Those brothers of the craft. Those sisters of the Order of the Eastern Star. See, those are the living ones. Those old sisters who have been there, who can rattle off that book, and they are the prime example of an Eastern Star. They were married. They outlived their husband. Now they're a widow. They are truly a sister. They are a mother. And they're truly a friend. You know, a daughter. They represent the embodiment of the Order of the Eastern Star. Those sisters, and you know who they are. Those are the ones you gravitate to. Because those are the ones who are an example of what it is to be an Eastern Star. That's where you're going to become illuminated at. Those are the ones who are going to tell you, sister, that's a good book to read right there. Get this book. Those are the ones you need to go and have that conversation with because they have life experience. And the same thing goes for that brother. You know, the one who can rattle off every position in that lodge because he has applied himself to understand what each position means. He's been a steward. He's been a titler, inside and outside. He knows the position and what they really mean in a lodge. That brother, you know, he's not really trying to be seen, but you know it's something about him that is different from everybody else. And if you ask him a question, he's going to give you the answer. Not the brother who said, well, man, you know, can't talk to you right now. You not that brother, but the one who's willing to say, hey, give me a call. I got you. That brother, the one when you go over to his house, he has a library of books that tell you, hey, pull that book out and you can take that one home, but be sure to bring it back. That brother wants to see you illuminated. That brother wants to see you to be the best Mason you can be. See, that's a living brother right there. And when he's gone, that brother is going to live forever here. See? When that brother is gone, he's going to be still living because he's here. That's the brother. That's the sister. You know? That's what I'm talking about. They claim in 33rd talking down on the brother because of the titles and jurisdiction needs to go back and read the obligation. You doggone skip it, they do. Because most brothers, and I would tell you this, most brothers who get initiated in these degrees don't go back and read anything. That's a fact. And then if they do go back and read, they realize what they've said and they be like, well, damn, did I say that? Yeah, you said it. You said that, you know, but they don't do it. Can one be light if not walking on the self? Meditation and reflection, alchemy, literal work to elevate the impressionable soul. I'm started to doubt it. They hit a wall. You know, well, I would tell you this. With meditation, I tell you this, a brother, a sister should meditate. I would tell you that one, in order to really become illuminated, one should watch what they do and around, and especially around those who are not members of the order. I would say that one should always be cautious, you know, of their surroundings and who they are as far as being a Mason or an Eastern Star. This is how you bring dignity to your chapter, to your lodge. Because you don't know who's watching you and they know you're a Mason. They know you're an Eastern Star. You don't know. But you out turning it up every night, getting towed up, and they man, I can do that by myself. I don't need to be a Mason to do that. I can do that all, but you know, you've heard it. You've seen it for yourself. Come on now. Somebody talk back to me. It's just to say they have something for a lot of degrees without knowing meaning is nothing. It's not about a seat, degrees. How many degrees you have. It's about the work and understanding the degrees and the light that comes from it. Absolutely. But we all know, if you're a Mason, there are people within the organization that have these degrees, but yet they're not illuminating. They're still hanging around dead folks. You know that as well as I do. And for the new inter-apprentice and for the new sister of the Order of the Eastern Star, you want to gravitate around those individuals that illuminate. You know who they illuminate the lodge. They illuminate the chapter. That's who you want to gravitate to. You want to get with them who have books of knowledge in their homes. You know, they can give you a book and they ain't mad at you if you're not ready to return it right away. You know, you want to be around people who are going to illuminate you, not the dead ones. You know, the living do not keep company with the dead. And you who claim to be raised from a dead level to a living perpendicular, you got to show that. You have to be the example. And I said it all the time. Returning greetings. What's going on there, Brother Vincent? Did you log on and log back off? You know, this is where we're at. You know, it reminds me of a movie where the man said, I see dead people because he was living, you know, or the young kid. I think that was a young kid that said, I see dead people, you know. But as we begin to indulge ourselves in Freemasonry and be able to work with the working tools of the inter-apprentice, the fellowcraft, the master mason, and then you choose which impending body you want to go through first, whether it be the York Rite or the Scottish Rite. And then even after that, if you are a well-traveled Mason, you will know that there are other degrees outside of Freemason that are very interesting degree works that will illuminate you and enlighten you on further information and instructions in the ritualistic work of life. Because life is a ritual. But what happens in our ritual of life is that too many dead people are with us or around us. This is why, as I said before, the higher you climb, everybody is not going to be ready to go with you when you make that move to a higher level in degree work, in knowledge, in searching, in understanding Freemasonry. Everybody's not going to be ready to go with you on that journey. Because I tell you, on that journey in Freemasonry, if you are really studying and breaking down Freemason and indulging yourself in it, you're going to have to leave some breadcrumbs because it will shake your foundation. That's a fact. Say what you want to say. I'm telling you the truth. If you are one who's indulging yourself in Freemasonry, I mean, really saying, look, I like this craft. I enjoy Freemasonry. I'm going to break this down. I'm going to indulge myself in it in the context of symbolism and understanding the hidden mysteries of Freemasonry, because they're only mysteries because you don't know. But when you find them, some of this stuff is going to shake you. I'm just being honest with you. Some of this stuff is going to shake you. And if you are man enough, if you are woman enough to stand on your foundation, as my imperial potentate would say, if you are that person who's wise enough to follow your guide and feel no danger, then boom, you're okay. You're all right. But most people, they don't understand that in the old terminology of Freemasonry, when I say old, in the old rituals, and I've seen some, it doesn't say follow your God. It says follow your God. This is why in Freemasonry, in order to be a member, it says, in whom do you put your trust? Do you believe in God? It doesn't have a name for it. It only states God is because that is the highest form of an entity that we can place on it. This is why we say that. But most of us say, yeah, I believe in God. You do. Well, this thing called Freemasonry is going to shake that. That's the truth. It is. You're absolutely correct. It is 98%. But what happens is Freemasonry is so watered down now till people are afraid to actually indulge themselves in the esoteric side of Freemasonry. They're afraid. Because if you really indulge yourself in the Scottish Rite side, you're going to begin to deal with a part of Freemason that's going to be different. Brother Debo, what's going on with you?
Brother, just checking in on you.
Well, I'm doing my show right now, bruh.
Oh, yeah. I'm about to get off work in a few minutes, though.
Well, you get off work, you call me. We're talking about the living do not keep company with the dead.
What you said there?
I said the living do not keep company with the dead. That's what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about brothers who claim to be raised from a dead level to a living perpendicular, but yet their company that they keep as Masons are dead.
Well, you know what, man? A lot of brothers don't comprehend that the raising actually takes place within yourself. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
The raising really takes place within yourself. Because, man, you got to understand that man has a duality in his nature, man. You know what I mean? You got to raise yourself from your lower level to your higher self.
Well,
from your lower self to your higher self.
Absolutely. And you got to, and I know you already know, most people don't know how to do that. Most Masons don't meditate and understand how to raise that.
Well, first of all, how can you claim to be that and you don't understand how to operate and how frequencies and vibrations operate?
Well, okay. So if we're going to have this conversation, Brother Debo, I keep saying you know as well as I know, most Masons don't go that way. They don't break it down that way. They may say they understand the symbolism and blah, 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 but they don't indulge themselves in that. So therefore, if you get a Mason who's dead, because he just thinks, oh, I'm a Mason, I'm regular, I'm this, I'm that, whatever the case may be.
What does it mean when you say dead level anyway? I mean, think about that. It's got to open some kind of. It's got to stimulate
You're supposed to, and I say that only because, as I said earlier, that when Mary Magdalene went to the grave or the tomb of the Messiah, and the angel said, "Why do you seek the living amongst the dead?"
Why you look for the living amongst the dead?
Absolutely. You remember he was a dead level and was raised. You know?
Well, it's a symbolism behind that as well.
Absolutely.
Stage of 3. Remember, this was on the 3rd day, right?
On the 3rd day. Of course. I'm with you on that. And I'm glad you called in. Unknowns to you. Unknowns to you. And the same thing, the brother just put in Lazarus. The same thing. There's something special about that.
Well, you gotta always remember this, especially when you're dealing with that Lazarus thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because if now I'm saying if, so this is a hypothetical. If the voice or the words that was spoken and said arise, that everything would have rose up, right? This is why he called his name first. Lazarus. You know, Lazarus arise. Not everything else. If he just said arise, he had the power to raise everything up, right?
Correct.
He specifically said Lazarus arise.
Yeah, absolutely. Called him by name. But you know what? You know what that brings me to this? It brings it to add to this. You posted something not long ago. You said, "What if Hammerbeth ordered the hit? No, what if King Solomon ordered the hit on Hammerbeth?"
All you got to do is go back. You got to go back into these stories because that is a whole legend.
Well,
That's a whole legend.
I mean, that is one show you and I gotta have that conversation. So you gotta let
That's
me.
a whole legend because there was listen. See, when we study and we read, we just there's all kinds of scenarios, right? So let's dissect this right quick.
Go ahead.
You know how David was.
Mm-hmm.
David wanted all the women in the kingdom. He wanted everybody's woman. It's stories that David sent supposed to have been his homie off to war just so he could have his woman.
Absolutely. Set him up.
Also, like father, like son. So here we go with Solomon. We know that Solomon had a lot of concubines. He had a lot of concubines, right?
Absolutely.
This one particular one who was already a queen or a princess, if you follow the story, because wasn't Marquita, which was many of them call her the Queen of Sheba, Queen Sheba, but it's the Queen of Sheba. Sheba was a place, not a person. But anyway, she was already a queen because her father was a king, right? Or princess. Her father was a king. So think about this. When she came to visit Solomon, when she came to visit him, she bought spices, fine linens, gold, silver.
Oh, she was a thing. She was a 10, baby.
So and then she had a caravan of gifts for him. So that means she's already royalty. So it wasn't about no wealth. It wasn't about him being king. She was intrigued by his wisdom.
Absolutely.
So she went to visit him to see if what the stories that she was hearing was actually true. Well, Solomon was wise as a motherfucker. But Solomon also pulled a stunt on her. Ordered all the water. Now these are old legends, so you can look these up. They're old legends. Ordered all the water, all the water out of the palace, except for one pitcher of water, which he kept by his bedside. That night, whatever they ate, that they had dinner or whatever it was that they had, it was a spicy dinner. The arrangement that they made was that he would not take anything from her that she wasn't willing to give, and she would not take anything from him that he was not willing to give. Well, apparently, you eat some spicy food, you wake up in the middle of the night, you're thirsty, or you
Right.
Legend says that she took a glass of his water out of his pitcher without asking him for that water.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the trick came in at. so anyway, as the story goes, they ended up getting together, however that happened. Now, she was intrigued with, according to the legend,
Mm-hmm.
she had eyes for Hiram. She had eyes for Hiram.
See, there you go. Go on, tell it. Go on, break it on down. Hey, the living do not keep company with the dead. Go ahead, tell that story.
Well, she had eyes for Hiram.
Right.
According to this legend,
Uh-huh.
according to the legend, her and Hiram engaged in a relationship. Solomon found out about it, or finds out about it. At that time, Queen and Hiram had devised a plan. They was going to flee and go back to Ethiopia.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, before that happened, here comes the ruffian. Here comes the tale of the ruffian. Why and how did they know where he was going to be when he was at a certain place or whatever?
Yep.
But nonetheless, he was allegedly, according to the legend, he was they killed him.
Mm-hmm.
And it points back in this legend that it was actually Solomon who dispatched them as his hit squad to do it in the first place because he crossed him with Sheba.
Mm.
Go back. You can Google it. It's called the Old Legends, the Old Myth of Hiram Abiff.
Okay.
So it's various stories out there. Now, here's another thing. I think, and this is just me, why would the ruffians go to the seafaring land and seek passage to Ethiopia? Why would they try to get to Ethiopia?
That's a good question. After they didn't kill the man, that's a good question.
So why? It's just things you gotta ask yourself. Why? Me personally, when I study or when I read, I always ask myself, who was this about? What is this about? Why is it written this way? Who, what, when, where, why, and how?
Mm-hmm.
Everything you can ask those questions with everything that you read for a better understanding of what you read.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a purpose behind everything.
It is a purpose behind everything. And this is why we're having this conversation tonight in regards to the living do not keep company with the dead. There is a purpose behind that because what I'm finding is that, and you and I have had these conversations before, Masons and Eastern Stars, they're so caught up in some other stuff till they're missing the very essence of what it is to be part of this great organization or even to have the privilege of being part of this great organization.
Well, this is what I question. Some. I'm not going to say all of them because it's not all individuals, but you have some people that get caught up in the surface things of it. You know, it's an argument that we all have. It's an argument that we all had or have had
Mm-hmm.
at one point in time or another that's dealing with regularity and recognition and things like that. Then you will have some that will say, well, you're not legitimate or you're clandestine because you can't trace yourself back to this, that, other. And then you ask yourself a question. Well, here they come. Here's the statement comes. Well, aren't we're supposed to treat these individuals with contentment and derision? That's a man's law, right? If that is they look at that as there are those that look at that as a law, but we're supposed to treat these individuals as contempt and derision. Well, that was written by the hands of a man, right? Of course it was.
this is, you said that right. This is why you have to ask yourself again. Do the living keep company with the dead? You told me it was under the fatherhood of man. I mean, under the brotherhood of man and the fatherhood of God, right?
So
And
if it's under the fatherhood of God, right?
right.
And there are those, if you are a Mason, is that not allegedly one of the requirements that you must believe in a higher being?
I just said that right before you called.
So
But
if you believe in a higher being, then you believe that there's a set of laws that supersedes man's laws.
absolutely.
And God's law says you are to treat the next man if you want to see the face of God. Look into the face of the nearest man or the nearest person next to you. Was he not made in the image and after the likeness? So in other words, you're telling me you will take man's law and say, well, I'm going to treat another man of God with contempt and derision. But I'm supposed to be a spiritual being or aware of my spirituality.
This is why one person just posted in the group that Freemasonry is 98% spiritual.
It's what?
98% spiritual.
Of course it is. Doesn't it say it teaches man to become closer to the deity whom he serves?
Oh, okay. Hold that thought for a moment. Now, you know, as I said, as well as I know, that when people or individuals travel those degrees, this is where it's supposed to lead to. Now, in the totality of receiving these degrees, at the end of your journey, at the end of these degrees and that you have so-called received, at the end of that, you're supposed to be a person of such awareness, a person almost like a priest of such. This is what I've found. And
well, brother,
go ahead.
When you starting at the bottom, let's start at the bottom because we definitely start in our low. When we climbing that ladder, we definitely start in the low. Because if you think about it, let's deal with it from a spiritual aspect. Let's go to what we call the serpentine energy or kundalini. That starts where? At your tailbone, right?
Yep. Right down there.
Don't it climb those ladders?
It does.
Vertebrae, your spinal column? Does not it climb those 32, 33 vertebrae?
Don't you talk to me like that.
It's a reason why you look at that ladder, or you look at you've seen the drawing on the basket's carpet or whatever, where the ladder starts at the bottom and the top of it goes into the heavens with the glory verse. You traveling from your dead level to that living perpendicular, where you yourself becomes that. You walk in the truth. You talk the truth. You become the total embodiment of the truth. Faith, hope, fruition, right?
Yep.
Now, faith is what you believe to be true. When you have a hope, it's some type of hope is what you wish for, want for, hope for. But your hope is lost in faith. Faith is lost in fruition. Fruition is nothing but when you unfold into that of the truth. It's like a flower. A flower starts off from a bulb, a little seed, and it grows into a bulb, then it opens up and becomes that flower. A seed only bears the fruit. The fruit that the tree bears started from the seed that you planted. So let's take that back to the craft. I've always understood it this way. It ain't no such thing as a bad student. You just was taught wrong.
Ain't no such thing as a what?
A bad student.
Okay.
You ever heard that in school? Ain't no such thing as a bad student, it's a bad teacher. You never heard that when you was in
Oh
school?
yeah.
Ain't no such thing as a bad student, it's a bad teacher. Now, if you watch what was that? Karate Kid and Mr. Miyagi and the other guy got into the fight and he told a young boy, he said, there's no such thing as a bad student. It's a teacher. The teacher is the one that lays the foundation of how the student
Mm-hmm.
Because if he's never introduced to it before, and he's never been a part of it before, so you don't know you're being taught wrong till later on, and then you start to see, well, wait a minute, this don't match up with this, and this don't sound like this, and this doesn't seem like this. How can you say that you are a student of nature? Because if you're studying Freemasonry and you understand what those 7 liberal arts and sciences is all about, then you understand it's nothing but the natural order of things.
Well, but
everything got an order to it.
Everything has an order to it, but sometimes us human, our minds, the only thing that separates us from a pig is our mind, and everything else you can find inside of a pig. So some of us like giving our pearls to the swine.
I just don't like to get in the back and forth, argument, because we always can have conversations and get an understanding of something. Because I learn something every day. I don't know everything, and I never profess to know everything. That's why I ask questions. Some people get offended by you asking questions.
Get offended. You know what?
Get offended because you asked a question.
I'm going to say.
He either gets offended because he can't answer that question, and too ashamed to say I don't know.
I'm going to say this in regards to a troll. I have a troll on my page tonight. His name is Wayfaring. And I don't even know why he's here. I could delete him, but you know what? Since he's trolling tonight, apparently he's learning something, because this guy's always popping up on my show, talking this and that. Oh, somebody deleted his message by Brother Larry Diamond. Yeah, he's a troll. And you know what? It's good to have trolls. It tells me something in regards to this guy Wayfaring, executioner or whatever it is. Coming on,
My mama always told me when I was growing up, people claim not. There are people that will claim to hate your guts, but always around, seemingly always around. Underlying behind all that, they admire you, but they just don't want to sex them.
The Wayfaring man is trying to seek some living. Is trying to wake up from the dead to be around a living.
all I know is anybody that's trying to be that better man, that's seeking to be that better man. To me, it don't matter where you do that at. It doesn't matter where you do that at, because that's a personal journey that you got to take all on your own. And if anybody talk about, well, we supposed to do this together, and this happens together, and we all function as one, and this, that. Well, if that's the case, then why did everybody that goes through and they first degree, when they come through the crack, every individual that came that way before you, every one of them received their own set of tools. That means the tools that they receive is their personal tools. You can't use your tools on me. I got my own. Your tools is for you to use on you. If the truth be told, if many of us stop worrying about the next man and start paying attention to ourselves, we won't have no time to worry about the next man, because we got too many imperfections of our own to work on.
That is true.
Nowhere near as perfect.
That is certainly true. And in the process, go ahead. What you was gonna say?
I'm saying, you've heard me say this a million times. Some people say, I got skeletons in my closet. I don't judge that. I laugh about it, because you say you got skeletons. Bro, I'm going to tell you the truth. I got a whole fucking cemetery in my closet.
You say you got a whole cemetery, huh?
A whole city block.
Man, I'm quite... But see, when you understand that, and you come up out of that, the mere fact that you say, well, I got a whole cemetery block, I got a whole block, but when you come out of that, because you are living now, you have been raised now, you don't have time to talk about childish things. You only want to deal with those things that's going to be illuminating to the next person and to yourself. That's the difference. Most people are not ready for that. When you talk about the chakras and the kundalini, most people are not ready for that conversation. Most people just want to have a fluff conversation in regards to Freemasonry.
But I really can't understand that, because if you are a student, if you are a true student, you know what I mean, of Freemasonry, then how, there's no way that you cannot cross paths, or at least, be pointed in the direction of alchemy, the direction of numerology, you know what I mean? There's no way you can't go on these things, especially if you understand what Judaism is. Now you definitely gonna go to the Kabbalah.
But see, once again, oh man, we can go on and on how a person who says that they're a Mason, but yet they're not the example of how a Mason or Eastern Star is supposed to carry themselves. They talk about everything else, but they're not willing to illuminate the next person, to raise the next person, to assist and aid the next person in their experience as a Mason, in their experience as an Eastern Star. They're not willing to give them good and wholesome instructions. When they're not able to do that and be sincere about doing that, to me, they're dead. To me, it's a waste of time. This is why it's important that as Masons, we who walk into a room and illuminate the room, we're supposed to always be willing to do that, to assist and aid, and teach a brother or a sister how to meditate, how to raise the kundalini, how to raise and understand the chakra, to teach them to meditate, to go back and to read those things that they have said in these previous degrees and understand what it is to have the rights and lights and privileges to be who they say they are.
We could have this discussion and it could go on for 6 months, and it still wouldn't matter to some people, because some people are just stuck in a mode where they just don't want to develop. It's easier for me to say I don't like this man, or I don't like this man's organization. I don't like where this man comes from. Man, it's so easy to do that, because subliminally, that's all we've ever been taught. That's all we've ever been taught. You take it back to school. You know what I mean? Elementary school. I don't like him because his shoes is better than mine. I don't like him because his mother works uptown. His mother works uptown, and my mom works at the hospital, or my mom ain't got no job, so I don't like him. We find stupid reasons just to hold a grudge. Stupid reasons.
This is why the average Mason can't grow. They can't be raised. Physically in the lodge, cool. But they can't be raised because of their ideology, because they can't comprehend spiritually what it is to be raised. They don't understand the meditation. They get into the second degree and they totally just loses it, because in the second degree you have everything that Mason has, that Freemason really has to offer in that second degree if you indulge yourself in it. It really does. And as you said before, when you climb that ladder, it leads to a heavenly place. It leads to a place to where you're supposed to be illuminated. That's where it leads. That's what I'm getting.
I mean, we start hearing about this ladder in Kadash, right? Or the ladder in Kadash, or what have you. To the average person, now I ask this, not to everybody that's out there listening, look up the word Kadash and see what it actually means. Just that word, and see what it actually means. Now, when we're talking about the word Mason, look up what the word means. Look up what that word means and ask yourself, truly ask yourself, am I really a builder, or am I destroying things?
Yeah. That's the thing right there. You still on? Did I lose? Oh, okay.
No, I'm saying the power, the tongue. Back Because you don't know how to keep that. You don't know how to keep that bone box closed.
Right.
You know, what the world are you talking about? You can't keep that red carpet. Can't keep that red carpet safe, and because you can't keep that bone box closed.
Mm-hmm.
What in the world are they talking about? And then later, when you start to think about it, you really begin to understand the red carpet is the tongue in your mouth. The bone box is your mouth. Sometimes my grandpa used to tell me all the time, boy, you can't talk and listen at the same time. If I'm trying to tell you something, shut up and listen.
He said, that's the way, hey. That's it. Cain will be waiting for those who live by the
And I'm
sword.
trying to tell you something that's going to benefit you, or at least help you in your travels in life.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, he will say how old he is. I'm just saying, it's a number out there. Well, I'm 70 years old. You're only 16. You don't even have a clue to what's going on. You think you do. You don't have a clue to what's happening. And that's what a lot of us, even when we're dealing with the crash, some of us out here are 30 seconds and 33rds in all organizations, and can't even tell you what the fuck the first degree password is. Oh, I don't remember, because you're so tracked up way up there. You tracked up in the clouds, but your feet's supposed to be on the ground.
And this is where a lot of brothers get caught up and sisters get caught up at. They too high up there. They need some oxygen. That's for real.
I don't understand, and you just listen to some of the things that said. Like I said, I don't be trying to engage in back and forth with anybody. At one point in time, I did, but it doesn't really serve a purpose, because at the end of the day, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do, and it's crazy to waste time, because I'm not your enemy. I'm not your enemy, dude. I'm not your enemy. The only enemy, the true enemy that a man has, that every one of us has, the true enemy of man is time, because we are gonna fucking die one day. Yeah, we all fighting against.
Oh my God, boy! Hey, I didn't see that one coming. You said that's the true enemy right there.
We all fighting against the clock. Every one of us. Every day we wake up, we're more closer to the end than we are to the beginning.
That's right. That is so true.
We're wasting precious time and valuable time of worrying about what organization the next man in, what he's doing, what your wife's doing, what the lady down the street is doing, what your next door neighbor is having for dinner, instead of worrying about what you gotta do. We gotta learn that this world takes all kinds, all of us. We live together. You know what I mean? This world is not as big as we think it is, but it ain't as small as you think it is either. We gotta expand our horizons. We gotta learn to think for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We have to really learn how to think for ourselves. And no man, I don't care who you are. If you got another person thinking for you, telling you what to think, you got a problem. There's a big problem. And if I feel like I cannot have a conversation with a fellow human being about the things that matter in life, and have a good conversation with a brother, and worry about, well, somebody gonna take it the wrong way and I'm gonna get suspended, or I'm gonna get expelled for calling a man brother.
But see, that's the difference between a free thinker and one who can't think freely.
Well, absolutely, because in the very beginning, the essence that we're dealing with, especially with dealing with Freemasonry, the whole essence of it evolved around free thinkers. These was the ones that had to run for their lives, because they were free thinkers, and at the time, the things that they were discussing, or the things that they talked about, was considered heresy against the church. And you speak heresy against the church, that was killing them.
Mm-hmm.
So what did they do? They went underground so they could be with men of like minds to have the discussions where everybody understood and was pretty much on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Think about Galileo with his theories at the time, and some of these other great minds at the time.
Mm-hmm.
They were actually either being killed or sacrificed or whatever you was calling, and they was killing these people in some horrific ways.
Right.
Pulling them apart, packing stones on their stomachs until they couldn't breathe, and putting them in iron boxes and throwing them overboard,
Mm-hmm.
burning them at the stakes, just because they thought different.
Right.
Here we are doing the same thing today, but we're doing it in a different way. We persecute people because they think different than us.
You can say that again. You can say that again. We do it all the time. All the time.
And don't even realize what we're doing. You can really, the things that you say out your mouth could really destroy a person. It could really damage a person for life. For forever. Just certain words, certain things that you can say to them, and you don't even understand the ramifications of what you say to them.
Because most people don't believe in their words. They don't know how their words resonate or vibrate or call that which is not yet to be. Most people don't see that. Because even in scripture it tells you that God said, let there be. In some places it says God said be. But when you understand the power behind your words and that your words resonate, just as you said earlier, when the Messiah was talking and calling on Lazarus, he called him by name because if he didn't, everything else would rise up. So when you understand how powerful your words are, you need to start choosing your words wisely, as my wife would like to tell me sometimes. You just can't, Tony, you just can't say anything. It just comes out. You gotta know how to choose your words wisely. And what happens to a person who's not dead, then what happens to a person who's dead, they don't understand that. They can't grab that.
Well, some people will say, brother, man, y'all taking this too far. You're talking about this and raising dead people and this, that, and the third, and making blind people see, and but you really gotta listen, and you really have to understand. These are simply metaphors. They are simply metaphors. Like, for example, I'm gonna show how fast things can click and how fast things will make sense when you let it happen. Okay, question. You could pick something, anything, on your wall, on your chair, on your desk, your table, anything. And you could read it, just read it, but don't say that out loud, just read it. Anything, it doesn't matter what it is, it could be a can of Coke, a Pepsi, or whatever, anything. Just don't even say it out loud, just read it. Now, you know what you read, right? You follow me? You know what you read, right?
Right?
You actually heard it, didn't you? As you was reading it silently, you actually hear the words.
You do. You don't have to open your mouth.
They didn't come out your mouth, but you heard yourself, right?
Absolutely.
Was it your voice that you heard?
That's then you're going somewhere with that.
Yeah, because you just travel from one dimension to the next. Strange though. I mean, some people scratching their head like, what the world is talking about?
Absolutely.
Again,
I remember I was watching something KRS-One did something very similar to that. He said, say something and don't open your mouth. And you can hear it. You know.
Absolutely. That's your own conscious mind that you heard. Every one of us do things. Every one of us. Not a one of us on a planet, and not a one of us on the phone that's listening, radio, wherever they're listening from. Neither one of us have ever done something and never said these words when it backfired. Damn, I should have followed my first mouth. I should have followed my first instinct. I knew I shouldn't have done that. Something told me not to do that, but I did it anyway.
Yeah, we say that. Yeah, we do. And I like what this brother just put in here. He says, let's see. And he said it should. He said it's called our higher self. And the other brother put, if we are our own thoughts, who is the one hearing it? That's a good one. I likes that. You know, if we are our own thoughts, who are hearing? Who's the one who's hearing it?
Think about it. Think about it.
Oh, absolutely.
What was just said. You hearing yourself. You're hearing your conscience. You're hearing your conscience speaking to you. That's your spiritual self talking to your physical self.
I should have. I could have. Would have. Oh yeah. That really ties right in. That really ties right into the topic as far as dealing with the living do not keep company with the dead. That really ties into all of that. What you just said tonight, really, in from what I can gather, from what I've learned from this conversation, it really breaks it down, especially when you're talking about the chakras and how you start low and then you end up on a higher note. And not only that, we're all fighting against that time called death. and you know, when you really begin to break things down like that, you don't get into other people's issues because you know for yourself where you're trying to get to, others ain't ready to go. They're not ready for it.
Brother, this is a question, a serious question. And this is something that goes out. Now, many brothers have heard me say this before, and many brothers have heard me ask this question before that I talked to. When a man is born, we're born in a town. We're not going to live forever. So one day we die.
Mm-hmm.
The people that were here before us, like the great-grandparents, so forth and so on, each one of those people or your loved one or a loved one that has gone on, that has transitioned, when we bury them and we have a funeral service, or we do a funeral service or whatever the case may be, once we bury those individuals, we put on their grave what's called a headstone.
Mm-hmm.
On the headstone, it's a date that the person was born. It's a dash. It's a date that the person died. Their name is on there. Their name is on there. Some have pictures of them on there. Some have various inscriptions on there. Some have just different descriptions on there. Father, mother, daughter, whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
Now, out of that whole scenario, everything on that headstone is one thing that stands out above the rest.
The end date?
No, it ain't the end date because that's time.
Go ahead.
You know what I mean? The most important thing on that headstone is the dash. What did that individual whose name is on that headstone do between the date that he was born, that dash, to the time he died?
Ooh.
What did they do? What kind of life did they lead? What did they do in between that time frame?
Man, that is that why they say that in the Masonic during the homegoing service of a brother, that each one of us is walking upon the level of time to which no traveler shall return?
I'll leave that to you and the next person to decide for themselves if that's what that means. But you just remember, like I said, during that time, what did you do? Remember, if we go back to a certain thing, somewhere along the line, we run across something called charcoal, somewhere we've seen that somewhere.
Yeah.
And then when we say chalk
Everything.
Even surface of water. Chalk leaves a mark on anything.
Mm-hmm.
And people that we meet in this life, we shall also leave our impression upon that person in the form of a mark.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about it is, what kind of mark did we leave on that person? Did we leave a good mark on them, or did we leave a bad mark on them?
Yeah.
What they thought of us when they met us.
Yeah.
The impression that we leave with the person is that mark. So what kind of mark did you leave on these individuals that you left behind? What kind of legacy did you leave? How will people remember you? Will they remember you as a good person? Will they remember you as a hellraiser? Will they remember you as just being a messed up person? Because we all, every one of us, have a memory of somebody who's gone and no longer physically here. We think some of the most effed up things about them, even though they're dead, because they done something messed up to us while they was living.
That is so true. That is so true. That is so true.
So you're leaving something behind. And if I'm not mistaken, I think somewhere a charitable heart, a charitable heart or a charitable person, you do charitable things. And doesn't it also say somewhere, I can't remember where I read it, but I remember something saying something about charity extends beyond the grave. I mean, I could be wrong. I might be reaching out.
Well, it is somewhere along the line. I've seen it written that it's not. How did it go? It's not what you do for a person while you're here. It's what's left after you're gone. You know, I mean, what that it was a sound. I can't think of how it actually goes. It'll come to me, hopefully before the show is over. But go ahead.
It's just different. It's a different. We all lead different lives, but at the end of the day, many of our goals, many of our end results, and many of our wishes and hopes are for the same thing. We just go about getting to that destination in a different way. But at the end of the day, it's getting to the destination. Like some people will say, you know, the only way to get to this place is you gotta go this way, you gotta go that way, you gotta da. No, it's many ways to get to places. You know what I mean? Like going to, let's just say, for example, you and I are going to Chicago, and we both could leave from your house. You choose to fly, I choose to drive. You know what I mean? But the point is, I'll see you in Chicago. It might take me a little longer to get there before, you know, after you. But the point is, I'll see you in Chicago. It doesn't matter what route I take.
So I'm gonna say this for those of you who do not know. This is Brother Debo Teller on the line. He's out of you out of Baltimore, Brother Debo? Delaware. He's out of Delaware. So for those of you who are wondering who's on the phone line tonight, that's Brother Debo Teller. Hey, introduce yourself, Brother Debo.
I'm just Debo.
Oh, come on now, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't, brother Debo. If I have to drive to Delaware, don't do that. Come on, man.
I'm being honest.
No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. Now I know. Come on, man. Tell the people who you are, man. Don't hold. I mean,
I just did.
Look,
I'm Brother Debo. I'm just your fellow traveler along the way. That's all.
Okay.
I'm just your fellow traveler.
Okay.
Anything I can do to help a brother is what I'll do. You know, I don't care what your affiliation is. It doesn't really matter. I don't really care to get into all of that. But I will help any brother, any person, any way that I can. If I can give you some advice, I'll give you advice.
Okay.
If I can help you, I'll help you.
I'm gonna leave it at I'm gonna leave it at that. But there's another. I'm just gonna leave it at that because I know better. I know better, so I'm gonna leave it at that. IP. Yeah.
What I do want.
Yeah.
I do want to say, I want the nobles out there from everywhere. Stay tuned. I got something coming.
So look, we're going to go ahead and end the show. Well, I appreciate you coming on. It's been a great show. The living do not keep company with the dead. Featuring Brother Debo Teller, who called in and lit it up tonight. I appreciate it. Thank you. You know, and we're going to continue this journey, man. And I appreciate you as always. And let's do what we do, man, to build each other up and keep it going. And please, hey, if you're out there tonight, hit the like button. I certainly would appreciate it. Share the show with someone, and let's see how we can move the needle a little bit. Really to take that trial that we have and spread the cement of brotherly love as Masons.
It's needed, brothers. It's needed, fam. I mean, we're never going to agree on everything.
Mm-hmm.
But we can at least agree to disagree with some form of decorum and be respectful about it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, earlier, I just said, many of us
Mm-hmm.
dislike each other, or have some kind of negative feeling for the next person because they think differently. They think differently. And because they think differently, we just feel a different way about that individual or those individuals. That's the ones that we need to appreciate. Those that do think different, because if we actually take the time to listen to them and understand their thoughts, they're just coming from a different aspect.
That's it. That's it.
So it doesn't, to me, to some it may, but to me, if your end goal is to be a better man tomorrow, or be the better, as I say, for me, every day, today, or whoever you pray to, or whoever your deity is, I just say, today, help me to be a better man today than I was yesterday. Because I can only take it one day at a time. So when I wake up tomorrow morning, I'll say it all over again. Help me guide my path and guide my feet, and help me to be a better man today than I was yesterday.
And with that being said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I certainly appreciate Brother Debo Teller for coming on. And I got to have him back on the show. Tonight was unexpected, but you know what? Some things may seem to be unexpected are supposed to happen. So with that being said, I want to tell everybody, the higher you climb, the clearer the vision. Please, whatever you do, stay out them bushes and keep your light on. Thank you for coming in. Brother Debo, hold on the line. Don't hang up. And I'm going to talk to everybody else later. Peace and be well.